Damn, that's good. Thank you.
This is really good. All right, so please tell me, how did you get the Drake gig?
Well, this is actually a great story, brother. It's like I was sitting in my studio and his producer 40 calls me on my phone. Anytime 40 calls, it's the history of our life. I answer right away because it's always some kind of crazy, cool invitation to something. So this time it was 40 calling me and he's like, Adrian, what are you doing? I need you to come play guitar for Drake. Just like that.
And
the rest is history.
And was that just because of the Toronto scene? You were known in the Toronto scene being a guitarist?
Yeah, you know, and you know, 40, the G producer that he is, you know, I've done some work with him in the past, and you know, it's why you always want to do a good job, you know, people when they're all coming up, and when he was coming up, he was working on this project for another friend of ours, like an R&B thing, and I just played a guitar solo on it, and he loved it so much, and I just remembered like feeling like that's so cool because this dude's like, he's like, come to my studio and listen to what you did, you know? Yeah. So I went over and then like years later, he's like, please come and play for Drake. So, you know, I guess that was my audition really.
Was to go to the studio session.
Exactly.
And then vibes were obviously good, that just led to live?
Sick vibes. Yeah, you know what I mean? So we were doing some more sessions for Drake and some of the early records, and then it was like, yo, the tour starts in 2 weeks. Okay. You know, so we were just in there.
It's always fast.
Yeah, so fast. Yeah. It just went like super fast. So that was like, you know, 2010, I guess.
So this is like Drake's second record?
This was it was like after the mixtape. So
right.
It was like, you know, the first official album, you know.
So it all started with recording, moved into live.
And
then you ended up MDing, right?
You know, taking the show to another level, you know, so I think it was around like the Club Paradise tour for the album that won the Grammy and stuff. So I don't know, I just kind of like described it as like rap meets like Guns N' Roses meets like, I don't know.
Yeah, because you would shred.
Funky. Yeah, it was pretty aggressive. Actually, and also like Pink Floyd, I think, was also like a huge influence on like the vibe of the music, you know, because it would go into these moments where you're just like padding out and vibing out, and Drake will be singing and talking to the crowd. And it was just a really interesting show, musically speaking.
What were you doing in the Toronto scene before Drake? What kind of led to that with 40 and everything?
Yeah, you know, I was always lucky that I had a lot of friends in the music industry. So I was always doing like different record company gigs. Like one of the first ones was Nelly Furtado. Huge gig, man. Like, you know, her first couple records went huge. Like she sold like over 15 million records. Yeah. Like, you know, so it was like multiple trips all over the world with her. So I guess that was like the beginning, but then that was also really cool because the whole band was people from Toronto.
Dope.
Amazing.
And her voice and just like everything.
So many big tunes. So many big tunes. So that was amazing. I mean, we played at Glastonbury and that was just like a dream come true gig. It was actually a beautiful sunny day.
Wow.
Yeah, like 100,000 people, bro. It was crazy.
The one time it's not a mud fest.
Exactly. It rained the day before and the day after. But for that show, it was
just for
beautiful
you.
Sunshine.
God was like, Adrian.
Yes, you're
solo
here, bro.
for the crowd.
We know how you feel about the rain, so here you go.
So now you're out here in LA. Are you producing? Are you kind of focusing on your own production right now?
Yeah, you know, like Drake stuff was super busy, and you know, it was like a lot involved with the studio and that, and you're just like learning about production and stuff. So just kind of like started doing my own production more and more, and I produced my own solo album, I guess. You know, I was like the main producer for that, and I did some work with The Weeknd, and all of my friends are like these amazing producers like Doc and Ilangelo and 40, of course. So I'm just learning from all these guys, and I just started doing my own thing. Love it.
That's dope.
You know, I think every musician should understand recording. You know what I mean? Like, I remember like the first time I got locked in a room with Pro Tools, and it was like, see you later. And I was like, I didn't know what to do, but I figured it out.
Yo, tell me about Marvin's Room. That's one of my favorite Drake cuts, and I know you had worked on that track.
Big record, man. So, you know, just to be a part of that song and to see how it was like this huge record for him on the radio around the world and stuff, it's definitely like, it was a cool thing to be a part of. So, same thing, you know, when 40 calls you, it's like you go to the studio, you know? I think, where were we? Yeah, I was here in LA, man. And we were out here like doing like some private shows. And then, of course, everyone's like in the studio at night. I'm back in the hotel. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like about to fall asleep. Phone rings. Adrian, what are you doing? Come to the studio. I was like, okay. Right? That's what you do when 40 calls.
Yeah.
You go.
Which is always the biggest calls.
Oh, yeah.
Always the biggest calls is like when you're like, oh, I'm super tired though. I was about to go to sleep.
That's what I mean. Like, and it's this huge thing. Like, yeah, I have so many stories from friends, musicians who it's like, exactly. It's like when you're tired, when you're angry, or when you're like really depressed or something, you're gonna get like these like magical moments. And it's like you can either say yes or no. And for everyone that says yes, the story's usually incredible. So on this particular occasion, it was like come to the studio. I think it was it one Westlake?
Yep.
Yeah, amazing studio.
Westlake's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like all the homies, you're like, yo, what's up? Everyone's just doing their
Once you
thing.
get there, you're good.
Yeah.
It's actually like getting out of your
it was
house.
like getting, you know what I mean? Getting out of the hotel,
Yeah.
just like, okay, cool, get there.
For all the non-musicians, it's literally like when you're like, I don't want to go to the gym, but I should.
Yeah, exactly. We get there and it was just like, you know, everyone's like doing their thing and it's just me and 40 in the studio and we just pressed record and we're just jamming chords.
Because that instrumental is so dope.
Yeah,
I know people
man.
took that instrumental and like made a bunch of remixes. Lil Wayne made a remix,
Lil
right?
Wayne
Like,
did. I mean, there's even like a Justin Bieber version or something.
dope.
Like, it's crazy. So many people covered it on YouTube too. It's like one of his big songs. But just the way it came about was so super organic.
Yeah.
Starts with
And
a
it
phone
sounds
call,
it sounds that way.
Yeah.
It has a vibe of its own when you listen to it. It kind of puts you
Exactly.
right into that vibe. when you listen to it.
Exactly, man. So, and you know, I'll never forget, you know, we did this music for a while and then Drake came in the studio and he heard it, he was like, yeah. And like right away, it was just like, yeah. Fast forward the future and it's like, I always say to people, like, just be ready.
Yeah.
You know,
Always.
just be ready. I have a lot of fond memories of touring with Kylie Minogue.
Oh yeah.
I was like a pop touring dude, and
that was how we ended up meeting.
That's right.
Was indirectly kind of through Kylie. Yeah.
Indirectly through
Yeah.
Kylie and
Yenny.
and so that was cool. You know, to be over in London and see how 120 people can go on tour, just like get in the trucks, boom, put up this huge pop show, show's over, boom, pack it all up, move on to the next city. It was amazing because it just worked like clockwork every night, sold out tours, and yeah, it was like a world tour again. So I've definitely been lucky to be on these world tours and like experience it and make like lots of great friends and everything. But and that's like the biggest thing to me. It's like it's how we met, you know. Years later, here we are, like you know, coming to see you when you're in Toronto doing shows with people. Like I think that's so cool how musicians get this, like, it's almost like a special type of passport visa or something.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's not about like borders or anything. It's about music and how we can all connect with each other and
It's
stay
our
in
deeper
touch.
connection, yeah.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? A couple of years goes by, it doesn't matter. Like, we're all still hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. And who's the new artist you're working with? The girl I met the other day?
Oh man, Liz Lockery from
Liz
Toronto.
Lockery.
I would say that like Canada's greatest export is our singer. You know, it goes all the way back to like, you know, Celine Dion and Bryan Adams. Fast forward the future, Drake, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd nominated for 7 Grammys this year. And you know, I put Liz in the same category. So when we first met, I was like, you're amazing. Let's figure this out, start writing songs. And you know, we're on our 6th trip to LA because this is definitely where all of the studios are, where all the best writers and producers come. So we're just always here working on music with her, and yeah, we're gonna do some shows soon.
Dude, amazing, man. Well, thanks for taking the time to come here and do
Thanks
this.
for having me.